Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of AEW Dynamite for February the 17th, 2021. And we have a lot of matches now confirmed for the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. Some very interesting things happened on this show. Remember when we thought Sting would be doing just a cinematic match where he would take no bumps? Well, things changed, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Shout out to everybody in the chat room watching this live. I appreciate your viewership and support. I will talk a little bit about some of the main things that happened on NXT, so stay tuned for that after I finish the AEW recap. Let's go ahead to it. And by the way, WWE Champion Kenny Omega. What's that about? Stay tuned. So we opened Dynamite this week with a tag team match because AEW is known for their tag team matches, of course. We had Adam Page teaming up with Big Money Matt Hardy against TH2, the Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans. Unfortunately, TH2 did not get an entrance, which typically when somebody does not get their entrance, at least in WWE, well, they're not winning. And sure enough, this was basically a showcase for the Matt Hardy and Adam Page storyline. Page was doing most of the work. Hardy would tag himself in, and at one point he accidentally knocked Page off of the apron. TH2 managed to take advantage, and they almost put Hardy away, but then Page came back in, hit a double buckshot lariat to both members of TH2, and then Hardy pinned Angelico with the twist of fate. A nice little bump that Angelico took at the end with the twist of fate. After the match was over, we had the continuation of the storyline where Matt Hardy talked about how he's getting 30% of Adam Page's income. But then, of course, Page revealed what the extra papers were from last week. Remember, when Matt Hardy's back was turned, Page swapped out the papers that Matt wanted him to sign. And we had this mascot. I think it's the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot. The mascot came into the ring with the papers, and the contract is actually a match between Adam Page and Matt Hardy at Revolution. And if Hardy loses, Page gets 100% of Hardy's entire earnings for the first quarter of 2021. Hardy was very upset about this, of course, and said that he wants to have something on the line from Page. And Hardy said if he wins, he wants Page's earnings for the first quarter of 2021. Page, maybe he's a stupid babyface. Maybe he has more guts than brains, as JR would say back in the day. But Page did agree to this, even though he outsmarted Matt Hardy. He agreed to have an even side here when it comes to the stipulations, even odds, even stack deck, whatever. Page agreed. The two of them shook hands, but then double cross, the mascot turned out to be Isaiah Cassidy of Private Party, and he attacked Page. TH2 got involved. It was a beatdown, but then we had the Dark Order, led by -1, come into the ring to make the save. They came out to help Adam Page, and Page celebrated, but we still don't know if Page is actually going to join the Dark Order or not. Got a $5 super chat from Hamp Connell. Thank you for that. Hamp says, finally have a night off. I just bought Mario and I didn't get a water bottle. Thanks, Aaron. Oh, you're talking about this water bottle right here, the Super Mario World 3D water bottle. Yeah, I got this at Target. If you buy Mario World 3D with Bowser's Fury for the Switch at Target, apparently they have these promotional bottles that they give you. I thought it was pretty cool to get the bottle with the game. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyways, I did enjoy the opening segment. Everybody in the chat room, well, not everybody, but a lot of people in the chat room talking about JR's commentary botch, which we'll get to here in a few minutes. We had Santana and Ortiz with the Inner Circle cutting a promo. Believe it or not, the Inner Circle, well, Santana and Ortiz specifically are getting their very first opportunity at the AEW tag team titles. And I do agree with Randy. I still prefer Broken Matt, but I will say that this was one of the better big money Matt segments. Interesting match here with them putting money on the line. I thought they were going to go a different direction. Maybe Matt would have to be somebody's bodyguard or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, they're doing a match where they're putting money on the line. Oh, Hamp says he bought the game at Target and did not get a bottle. Well, that sucks. You need to contact Target and find out what's up with that. You want to know what happened to your promotional bottle. So we had Jericho talking about Sammy Guevara leaving the Inner Circle, and Jericho said, well, it was MJF's fault to a degree. It was also Sammy's fault, and Sammy walked out on the group, and as far as Jericho is concerned, Sammy is dead to him. Nice little promo here from these guys. By the way, no Sammy Guevara on this show, and there was a report that he was going to show up on Impact Wrestling, but there were apparently some real-life creative issues, and he turned it down. Or Impact Wrestling canceled it when he put up resistance to whatever was planned. We'll see what happens with Sammy Guevara, if he shows up at Revolution or if he just stays away for a while. Who knows? Next up, we had Serena Deeb versus the returning Riho, who has not been on AEW Dynamite since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, she was the first AEW Women's Champion. There was a recap of the Japanese side of the tournament, which aired on AEW's YouTube page. And during the match, Deeb hurt her knee. The referee, or not the referee, the trainer, the doctor, was checking on her, but she was able to continue. A really good match between these two. Riho did this diving foot stomp to the spine of Serena Deeb and then hit a top rope crossbody block for a near fall. They went back and forth. Serena hit a power bomb and put on the stretch muffler, which Riho was able to get out of. And they had a bunch of near falls. And finally, Riho got the best of Deeb and picked up the victory. Nice match here. Nice return match. Nice showing for Riho, making her comeback. Good stuff here from the ladies. And nice to see AEW finally changing it up. Instead of having the women's matches at 9:25, 9:30, they're doing it earlier in the show. Next step, let's have the ladies in a main event segment on AEW Dynamite. Why not? We had a clip of Shaquille O'Neal and Jade playing basketball. I guess that's how they're training. I would prefer to see Shaq actually in the ring doing training rather than them playing basketball. But okay, at least it shows that Shaq and Jade are bonding and they're developing this business relationship. They're becoming friends and whatnot. But yeah, I want to see Shaq like in the ring training and showing everyone that he's getting in the zone for his first professional wrestling match. It was quite random. And we had Orange Cassidy up against Luther. Not much to say about this match. It was basically just a showcase for Orange Cassidy. You had Serpentico out there attacking Chuck, who is no longer a butler. By the way, no Miro on this show whatsoever. Luther did get a near fall early in the match, but Chuck managed to get his payback on Serpentico, and then Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch and put away Luther. we had a Team Taz promo in the ring. So originally this was supposed to be Sting calling out Team Taz, but instead we had Team Taz come out. And by the way, it was only Taz, Brian Cage, and Hook, Taz's son, because numerous AEW stars that live in Texas could not get to the show due to the snow. Yeah, crazy world we're living in. Texas has been in a deep freeze the past several days. It's been a disaster for a lot of people there, losing power in freezing cold temperatures. And yeah, several people could not get to Florida for this Dynamite because of the weather conditions. And Taz was basically blaming it on Sting, saying that Sting took his snow and sent it down into Texas. We had the lights come out. Sting arrived, and Taz was like, you're a big man with your bat, but without the bat, you're nothing. So Sting, of course, dropped the bat, and Sting got physical. He went right after Brian Cage. Hook, of course, grabbed the bat and tried to use it on Sting. Sting took out Hook, but then he was distracted. Brian Cage got the upper hand on Sting, and shocking moment here. I mentioned earlier, we all thought Sting was going to do this cinematic match where he would not take any bumps, but here we are. AEW Dynamite, February 17th, 2021. Sting took his first bump in a ring on television since his retirement back in 2015. You had Brian Cage pick up Sting, and he gave him a power bomb. And it wasn't just this light power bomb. He got him good with it. I will say Sting took the bump very well, landed right on his back, no whiplash. But yeah, for a split second there, I was all tense when this happened. I'm like, you got a 60-plus-year-old man here who had to retire due to a bad neck taking a power bomb. But whatever Sting wants to do, if he's cleared to wrestle and they feel they can do it safely, then more power to Sting, more power to AEW. But yeah, it was a bit scary. And some people will say, well, Edge is taking bumps now and all that stuff. I mean, again, if Sting is cleared to go and they're very careful with it, who am I to judge what they're doing? It's just a little scary, I will say. So Sting took a bump, and maybe they are going to have an actual match at the pay-per-view. I mean, they may still do something cinematic style, but clearly Sting is up for taking bumps, and he took his first bump here on the show. Pretty shocking moment to see him take that bump. I was not expecting it. I figured they were gonna just do something with him throwing punches at people and taking a minimum amount of punishment, which could still end up happening. So anyways, we had a segment with Kenny Omega in a school talking to some kids, and JR was doing the commentary introduction to the segment, and whoops, he accidentally referred to Kenny Omega as the WWE champion. Yeah. This reminds me back in the day in WCW when somebody would accidentally say WWF, and it kind of made WCW look second rate when that happened. And yeah, kind of the same thing here. And yeah, JR has been part of WWE for so many years. I get it. But yeah, it was awkward for sure to hear him call Kenny Omega the WWE champion. If you missed it, head over to NoDQ.com and you could check out a clip from Dynamite when JR said that. And yeah, I agree, Nick Glavin. Poor JR. And Dr. NXT Scorpio says the same thing. Anyways, we had Omega in this classroom talking to these kids. He was reading from the Young Bucks' book, and he was turning it into himself, talking about himself, making it about him, and brought up how he headlined Tokyo Dome and business went up. And then, he's a businessman. He's got to go. The kids wanted to play with Omega, but he needed to leave. So Don Callis offered Nakazawa, who was there. Michael Nakazawa was offered to play with the kids, but the kids, for some reason, they hate the guy. So one of them kicked him in the balls, and then they all got on top of him and beat him up. Kind of a strange segment here. It was entertaining, but it was a little odd, in my opinion. Next up, we had the AEW Tag Team titles on the line. We had the Young Bucks defending against Santana and Ortiz with the Inner Circle at ringside. And during this match, we had the WWE Champion, Kenny Omega, backstage with the Good Brothers watching the match sideways, WWE style. And hey, Omega's the WWE Champion, so we might as well watch the matches backstage like a WWE Champion would. I could have sworn the Bucks already did this joke, so yeah, they gotta run it into the ground. You know, we get it. WWE has that weird ass camera angle for wrestlers watching the monitor. They've been doing that for decades. So Inner Circle, they were quickly kicked out of the arena, and Santana and Ortiz hit a double cutter and then went for the street sweeper. They hit it, but then Matt Jackson came in for the last second, broke up the pin, and Nick Jackson managed to pick up the victory with an inside cradle. And then after the match was pretty much immediately over, we had the rest of the Inner Circle come in and attack the Bucks. Omega and the Good Brothers were backstage, not really doing anything. And then Callis finally sent off the Good Brothers to go help out the Bucks. They took their sweet-ass time. They very slowly walked to the ring. And then the Inner Circle, of course, just took off. And then Jericho started having words with the Young Bucks' dad, who was at ringside here. That was kind of funny. And yeah, we got at Revolution, the Young Bucks versus Jericho and MJF for the tag team titles. Should be some good stuff here. We'll see if Sammy Guevara shows up. Maybe not, but definitely intriguing, I will say. We had another tag team match because AEW is known for their tag team matches. We had FTR versus Matt and Mike Sydal. This is something crazy. I've been running No DQ for all these years, and I had no idea that Matt Sydal had a brother. Like, that's nuts. How did I not know that? I had no clue. This is the first time I ever was introduced to Mike Sydal. They probably were wrestling on Dark, but I haven't been watching Dark in a long time. So yeah, I was a little intrigued by this. No Tully Blanchard because he was also stuck in the snow from the storm. Before this match, by the way, we had Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes come to the stage, and they revealed the gender of the baby. They put it up on the screen. Cody had no idea. They are having a girl. So congratulations to Cody and Brandy. Best wishes to them with the pregnancy and the birth. We had Cody there on commentary, and Cody made another announcement. It was announced that at Revolution, there will be a 6-way ladder match to determine the next challenger for the TNT Championship. And I believe they announced Cody and Penta and Scorpio Sky as the first 3 participants. And there will be 3 more participants to be announced in the coming weeks. We also had Dory Funk Jr., who was sitting in the stands with his wife. By the way, it's called the Face the Revolution ladder match, which will be at Revolution. Match was pretty good here with the Sydal brothers, although Mike did botch a moonsault. Other than that, he looked fine. However, even though they put up a good fight, FTR picked up the win with the Big Rig, formerly the Shatter Machine, formerly the Goodnight Express. And then after the match, FTR, they were going to attempt to cut Mike's hair And that's when the lights went out. Up on the big screen, we had Luchasaurus's old mask. And then back in the ring, you had the Lucha Express. Luchasaurus had a brand new mask, and they beat the crap out of FTR. I think it's 2 weeks from now, they announced a 6-man match, Lucha Express against FTR and Tully Blanchard, who is coming out of retirement. This is nuts. Tully's coming out of retirement. Sting is taking bumps. Jake Roberts got physical the other week. He's been doing some stuff. It's crazy here. We had our main event of the show, which was Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and Blade up against Jon Moxley, Lance Archer, and Rey Fenix. Fight immediately went to the outside of the ring. This was just a wild brawl back and forth. I like Archer and Phoenix working together. Archer at one point took Phoenix and choke slammed him onto Butcher and Blade. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, fun main event here. Moxley did pin Eddie Kingston with the Paradigm Shift. And then after the match, the Good Brothers jumped Moxley. They beat him up, and then Kenny Omega arrived. Omega had a piece of paper, which was apparently a contract, a late Valentine's Day gift from Tony Khan. And Omega said that Moxley will get his rematch at AEW Revolution, but Omega will get to choose the stipulation for their match. And he officially challenged Moxley to, get ready, an exploding barbed wire death match. I was like, whoa. Because if you remember that lights out unsanctioned match from Full Gear a few years ago, 2019, that was wild. That match was crazy, and they're going to somehow try to top that match and go even more extreme. Now, for those of you that have never seen one of these matches, go look up on YouTube Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk exploding barbed wire, and you'll get an idea of what we're going to see at this pay-per-view. That was like one of the most violent matches, and we've seen those types of matches in some promotions. It's definitely a thing. Exploding barbed wire. It's quite violent, and that's Moxley's specialty. Of course, he loves the death matches, so that's going to be something else for sure. Blood and guts, as MVP Kev points out, and I guess it's going to be sanctioned this time. Dr. NXT Scorpio. The last one was not sanctioned. I guess they're going to have to go with it this time because the stakes are just too high. They got to do it now. Anyways, oh, by the way, Maud W says they are trolling Jim Cornette. I don't know if they're specifically doing that, but I'm sure Kenny Omega is thinking, yeah, I bet Cornette's going to be pissed off at this one, and good luck having to watch the match and recap it on his podcast. That's probably how Omega is reacting to Cornette's outrage. Show was really good. I thought this was maybe the best Dynamite of 2021 so far. Lots of good build-up for Revolution. I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view now. I'm getting hyped for it. I was very entertained with a lot of the segments on this show. We had some surprises. I'm going to give it a B+. Really good Dynamite this week. Definitely check out the Sting segment. Main event was fun. The Bucks tag team match was really good. Lots of quality stuff here. Riho's match, worth checking out. Real quick here, we'll talk about the stuff from NXT. Mainly the Adam Cole follow-up from the TakeOver pay-per-view. Kyle O'Reilly came out to start the show, and he cannot make sense of what happened. Basically, he was trying to give Adam Cole the benefit of the doubt, but he wants an explanation. He wants to know why, Adam, why. Instead, we had Roderick Strong come out, and Strong was trying to be the peacemaker here, but O'Reilly wanted none of it. He wanted Cole to come out there and explain his actions. He told Cole to get his ass out there. And that's when Finn Balor arrived. And Finn Balor basically was not really trustworthy of O'Reilly, thinking that this could all be some kind of setup. And Strong was denying this, saying that O'Reilly had nothing to do with Adam Cole's actions. And then at this point, we had Pete Dunne and the tag champs, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They ran in and attacked the faces, and this basically set up a 6-man match for the pay-per-view. A couple of other notes from the show. Pat McAfee did a promo from his private plane. This was his first appearance since War Games, and basically he just said he told everybody, he warned everybody about what a jerk Adam Cole is, and hashtag Pat was right. We also had an appearance by the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. They confronted Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, and it was announced that in 2 weeks, this is the same night that Shaq is going to be wrestling in that tag match against Cody and Red Velvet, we will have the tag team title match with Shayna and Nia defending against Dakota and Raquel. And Raquel finished off the segment by saying she's going to shove her foot up Nia's hole. So we got another hole reference on this week's NXT show. And then we had the main event, which Adam Cole interfered in as expected. At least I expected it. Cole ran in, attacked O'Reilly, which led to Pete Dunne's team picking up the victory. And then after the match, Cole attacked Balor and held up the NXT championship, making it clear what he wants. He wants the NXT world title. And I guess we'll see if this is all some kind of big setup or if Cole's just doing his own thing now. So that was an interesting follow-up. I mean, pretty straightforward here. No promo from Adam Cole yet to explain his actions, so I guess we'll have to wait another week for that. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out Dynamite this week. I forgot to read off some of the letter grades. MVP Kev with a B+, and Nick Lavin gave it an A-. He's excited for the show. Daniel gives it a solid A. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I do appreciate your viewership and support. And if you're watching this on Facebook or Periscope, make sure you head over to youtube.com/AaronRift, subscribe and turn on the notifications for updates. Take care, everybody. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com, like I said, and I will see you all next time.